I want to share something that happened last year. It still feels like a bad dream, but the scars it left on me and my family are very real. I was 14 when my little sister Emily turned 7. We lived in a small 2-story house in Ohio with our mom and dad. Our life wasn't perfect, but it was ordinary, and I miss that now. Emily loved dolls more than anything. Her room was like a museum of them: porcelain dolls, plastic ones, stuffed animals dressed like dolls, you name it. She would line them up on her shelf, name each one, and treat them like they were her friends. That birthday, we threw a small party for her. Just close family and a couple of neighbors came. There was cake, balloons, and a pile of presents wrapped in shiny paper. One particular gift stood out. It was delivered the morning of her birthday, wrapped in glossy black paper with a bright red ribbon. There was no card, no name, no sender. Mom assumed it was from one of her online friends or maybe a distant relative. Emily, being a kid, was more excited than cautious. She tore the wrapping apart with her tiny hands, and inside was a doll, but unlike any I had ever seen. It was a Labubu doll, golden brown fur, large round eyes that looked almost wet, long floppy ears, and a sewn mouth with an odd crescent smile. Its teeth were white but slightly too sharp for a children's toy, and there was something about its smile that felt wrong. Emily gasped with delight. She said it was the cutest doll she had ever seen. I remember feeling an odd chill crawl up my back when she hugged it. The first night passed quietly, or so I thought. The next morning at breakfast, Emily told us she heard singing. A soft humming that came from her room. Mom shrugged it off, saying maybe it was the wind or the TV from next door. Dad joked that maybe one of her other dolls was jealous of the new one and started a party. Emily giggled, but I didn't. I didn't like that doll. It sat there at the end of her bed, its glassy eyes reflecting the nightlight. Over the next few nights, things escalated. The singing became more distinct. It wasn't just humming anymore. Emily said it was singing a song she didn't know the words to, in a language none of us understood. One night, I passed her room to get some water. I swear I heard my name being whispered, so soft I thought it was the wind. But when I peeked in, the doll was facing the door, its sewn smile wider than before. By the end of that week, the whole family had heard it, their own names, whispered faintly at night, always when the house was quiet. Mom said she heard it while brushing her teeth. Dad heard it when he was locking up the garage. And I heard it again, clear as day, one night while I was pretending to sleep. The voice wasn't Emily's. It was dry, scratchy, almost like a grown man trying to speak through a cracked pipe. We decided to check the doll for anything, a speaker, a battery pack, something that could explain it. Dad grabbed it one evening while Emily was brushing her teeth. I watched him turn it over, check its seams, its back, even cut open a part of the stitching where the tag was. There was nothing. Just stuffing. No wires, no batteries, nothing. Emily started getting sick after that. She had nosebleeds at night. Her skin looked pale. She stopped playing with her other dolls and only wanted that Labubu near her. One morning, I woke up to her standing in my doorway holding it. Her eyes looked empty, like she hadn't slept. She said, "It wants to play with you now." I slammed the door shut and locked it. I didn't know why, but I was terrified. Mom wanted to throw the doll out. Dad was hesitant because Emily would scream whenever we even mentioned it. She cried for hours the one time Mom tried to hide it in the closet. That night, the singing came back louder. This time, all of us heard it, echoing through the house like it was inside the walls. It wasn't singing a tune anymore, it was laughing. 2 nights later, everything fell apart. I woke up to the sound of Emily screaming. I ran to her room, and the door was already ajar. The doll was sitting on her chest, its head tilted slightly, those sewn teeth glinting in the nightlight. Her nose was bleeding again. Mom rushed in and grabbed it, shouting at Dad to get rid of it once and for all. He didn't argue this time. He took the doll outside to the garbage bin while I stayed with Emily. She kept whispering that it wasn't over, that it would come back because it knows our names now. I held her hand until she fell asleep. For the first time in a week, I actually slept through the night. The next morning, the doll was back, sitting at the kitchen table. Nobody had brought it in. The front door was still locked. The trash bin was untouched. But there it was, sitting upright in one of the chairs, its head slightly turned toward Emily's room. That was the first time I saw Dad truly afraid. He didn't say a word. He grabbed a hammer, took the doll out back, and smashed it into pieces. We all stood in the backyard as he burned the remains in a metal barrel. It smelled like burnt hair and old cloth. Emily cried, but this time, it was a confused kind of crying, like part of her didn't want to let go. For a few days, things were quiet. Emily seemed to recover a bit, even smiled again. I started to believe maybe it was over. But a week later, I woke up to a familiar sound. Humming. Faint, but there. I followed it to the living room. And there it was, sitting on the couch. Perfectly whole. No burns. No stitches. Its smile wider than I remembered. This time, we didn't try to destroy it. We called the police, thinking maybe someone was messing with us. They found nothing. No signs of forced entry. They thought we were playing a prank. The next night, Dad put the doll in his car and drove 3 towns over. He threw it into a river and came back without saying a word. For a few days, nothing happened. Then Emily got sick again. Fever, nosebleeds, nightmares. And then one evening, she started singing the same song the doll used to sing. It got worse from there. We started seeing shapes in the hallway, shadows that didn't belong. The doll appeared again, this time on the top shelf of Emily's room, even though her window was locked and her door hadn't been opened. We brought in a priest, then another one. The house felt colder every night. I don't know how to explain what happened next. One night, I woke up to the sound of something moving in my room. The doll was sitting on my desk. Its mouth, the one that was always stitched shut, was open now, wide, with black threads dangling like torn flesh. It whispered my name, so close I felt its breath on my face. I grabbed it and ran outside. I didn't care that it was raining. I ran 3 blocks away, threw it into a construction dumpster, and didn't stop running until I got home. That was 6 months ago. Emily doesn't remember much anymore. She's been in and out of the hospital with some kind of unexplained anemia. The doctors can't find the cause. Mom barely sleeps. Dad has started drinking again. And me? Every now and then, I wake up in the middle of the night because I think I hear it, that faint humming. I check the corners of my room. I check under the bed. It's never there. But 2 nights ago, I found a package at our doorstep. Black wrapping paper. Red ribbon. No name. No sender. And this time, it had my name on it.